For the week on everything our kids learned about this week. This week our theme was sheep and wool, and our kids were a little bit baffled by the idea that some of our clothes actually come from wool. That was a little bit far-fetched for them. They understand milk from cows, that makes sense. They understand chicken and eggs, but clothes and sheep, that doesn't make sense. So socks, beanies, jackets, jerseys, that was a bit strange for them to think that that actually comes from sheep. But that was our theme for the week. They had a few cute crafts and cute activities that they did with that. For example, little sheep cutout that they did, stuck some wool on there just to reaffirm the idea of wool coming from sheep. They had a bit of fun with that. And obviously some activities that they did. They had to do some patterns, sequencing as well. Patterns and sequencing is a grade R readiness skill. So we had some patterns, pig, dog, what's the next one? So they did some of that. That's one of the mathematical concepts that we focused on this week. Our phonic for this week is the J, or as we a J letter, as we say it, a J. We hand signed it like this, J, which is actually a sign language letter. So some general knowledge there as well for our little ones. And then our mathematical concept for the week still is counting. In term 4 we focus a lot on counting. And so if you want to do at-home stimulation, you can show kiddies some things that are made of wool at home. Socks, beanies, jerseys, jackets, etc. Things that are made of wool. You can even show them a little bit of knitting if you want to. There is a way to do some finger knitting. I'll put the link on our school group and on our Facebook page. You can do a bit of finger knitting with them just for fun. And that's a way to reinforce the concept that wool actually comes from sheep. And then with the J, you can point out things that starts with a J and encourage them to make their J with their hand, because it's sensory learning. Anything that they do with their body, with their ears, while learning something new just helps them to remember it. So you can encourage them to make their J for jellyfish, J for jar, J for jug. So you can point out J words at home to stimulate the phonic. And then counting, there's always lots and lots of things at home that you can count. You can count buttons on jackets, you can count pairs of socks, you can count anything, kitchen stuff, so many cups of flour in a recipe, 2 spoons, 4 forks, etc. So there's always stuff at home that you can do with your little one to stimulate some counting. In preschool, it's perfectly acceptable if they can count up to 5 when they get ready for big school. But in some schools, they do prefer that they count to 10. So that's why we do learning up to 10 at our school. In term 4, we focus mostly on counting for the mathematical concept. So that is some at-home stimulation ideas. For the sheep and wool idea, you can point out things at home that are made of wool. So that's how you can stimulate a bit of that, is just point out things that are made of wool. Out of wool, you can actually ask them, show them a carrot. Do you think this is made from wool? No, etc. So that's how you can do at-home stimulation with wool as well. And then what we also did this week is we focused a bit of counting animal legs. Sounds funny. Which animals have got 2 legs and which ones have got 4 legs? So this is a doggy. Does she have 4 legs or 2 legs? So then they often guess as well. So instead of guessing, no, let's count them with our finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or chicken. How many legs do you think a chicken has? Let's count them in this picture. 1, 2. So you can help them with that if you want to stimulate some farming themed counting at home as well. You can take a little animal book and say, how many legs does this animal have? Oh, it's a cat. Let's count. Count with your finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting with your finger. It's also another way to incorporate sensory learning, so it helps them to remember. So that is some at-home stimulation ideas for this week's update. And then with regards to the baby room, this week let's talk about the importance of tummy time. Now, tummy time is probably the one thing, if there's no other stimulation that is ever done with a baby, tummy time is number one. For a couple of reasons. It really strengthens their back muscles, neck muscles, tummy muscles, arm muscles, shoulders, and it helps them to develop strength for things like crawling, sitting, walking, etc. So for how to do a bit of tummy time at home, very often babies don't like it. If they're not used to it, they don't like it. So they do cringe a little bit, they do moan a little bit, but it's good to just let them moan a little bit through it, just a little bit, and then to continue, because soon they do start to get used to it, and it is so important for them to do tummy time. What you can do is normally when you start off doing tummy time, you can let your baby do tummy time for about 3 minutes or so, just to get used to it a little bit, and as they start to get used to it, you can lengthen the time as well. Tummy time you can start very early. If your baby's neck is not strong enough yet, you can support the leg while letting them do just a little bit of tummy time just to get used to it. Often when you do help a baby to burp as well, you can actually turn them around, put them on your knees, their tummy on your knees, support their head, and then, with a hand like that, you can pat them on the back to help them release some wind as well. And that's a good way to get them used to the idea of tummy time also. So tummy time is so important. If there's nothing else that is ever done with a baby to stimulate them, tummy time is number one. So that's just a way you start off with about 3 to 5 minutes, and then as they get used to it, you lengthen it. Just remember, baby may moan. If they're not used to it, they may moan a little bit. It's also okay. I would compare it for grown-ups to maybe going to the gym. When you get there on the treadmill, it's not the most fun thing to do necessarily. Sometimes we also moan a bit when we have to do a bit of exercise. But when we get there, we have all those nice hormones released in our bodies, and we start to feel a little bit nice about the idea of exercise. And after that, we've got that sense of achievement as well. It's something similar for babies. So they also do have that sense of achievement, especially if you put toys just outside of their reach, where they have to reach a little bit for it while they're on their tummy and then grasp the toy. They have that sense of achievement when they're able to actually get the toy as well. So it is so good for them. They don't always like it when they start off, but very soon they get used to it, and it is good for them. They enjoy it. They have the sense of achievement. They start to grasp for toys. They start to grasp for things that are colorful, and they really develop very quickly when they get lots of tummy time. So that's just a little tip for the week on baby room, and that is our update for the week. Have a good weekend, everybody.